It's Full-Time Devils, and this is my post-match reaction. So Manchester United managed to get a draw away from home in Rostov in extremely difficult circumstances. I said before the match I thought it was going to be 0-0. I might have said 1-0, but if I did, it was more of a guess. I did think it was going to be a draw, though, and I'm happy with it, in all honesty. I thought the midfield was completely bypassed. It was basically defence against defence. It was like a bit of an old-school football game. It was very Sunday League, very schoolyard football. It was kick and rush, and United have come away with our worst completion rate for passes this season, and probably in recent memory, to be honest. 61% pass completion rate with only 300 passes. That's so far down, and I think a lot of what we saw there was down to the pitch, and I'm not making excuses for it. I think you have to play the opposition, you have to play the pitch. They lined up with 5 across the back, and we sort of matched them for that a little bit. But the midfield was non-existent from Manchester United. It was non-existent from Rostov as well, and it was very much a long ball down the channels, literally just like a 1950s version of football. And I think that the pitch had a massive part to play in that. And I'm not making an excuse for it, because as I said, I'm coming away with I'm pretty happy with getting a draw there. If you look at what they've managed to do, I think they're 25 games unbeaten, a lot of wins under there, and a couple of draws. They're extremely difficult to beat at home, so I'm coming away pretty happy with that. I see a lot of people kicking off that, there was problems that should be able to play, millionaires should be able to play on this, that, and the other, and why does the pitch matter and all the rest of it? Well, it shouldn't matter, I agree, but ultimately it does. United have a game based on passing, and United's pass completion rate is around about the 83% mark. It's very good, and when you come into a game against a side with a pitch like that, with the wind the way it was, and a team that's lining up with 5 across the back, and they was going physical very early on in the game, I think that's what you come away with, in all honesty. And as I said, I'm not overly bothered. I thought our midfield was kind of poor. I think the one who looked the best was Fellaini, and I think that's because he doesn't generally play his football on the floor. He's good in the area, being able to pull it down onto his chest and knocking it on, and I thought he excelled at that. I thought Zlatan did his best work without the ball, tackling and tracking back, and wasn't very creative on it. Mkhitaryan obviously showing his talent. I think Mkhitaryan might actually be United's best player at the moment. He just oozes quality in every single thing that he does. But it was difficult for him to get on the game, into the game, because of how many men are around him, and a 5-man defence is really difficult for us to break down. The goal from Rostov was unbelievable. We have to talk about poor defending from Manchester United. I honestly don't know what Phil Jones was doing. Is this the clanger that we expect when Phil Jones plays? The ball comes in over the top, and he decides to play the guy onside and then stop, and you're like, you literally could have done anything but what you've just done there. Inexplicable. But anyway, we get an away goal, we go through, and I think that's a positive result for Manchester United. I'm not happy coming away. I'd have been happy if we'd have won 3 or 4-0. I'd have been like, yes, that's awesome. But I'm coming away pretty content. Let's see what happens now when we bring them back to Old Trafford. We've got a killer of a game in between, and in between that now with Chelsea, and then we've got a big match with them in the return leg at Old Trafford, where I think it's going to be an entirely different story. I think they're going to line up with 5 across the back again, but I think you're going to look at an entirely different game. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. A lot of people saying 10-2. I'm guessing that there's some Arsenal fans in the comments that are trying to talk smack. Like we said at the start of the season, we had as much chance of winning the Champions League as Arsenal did, so there you go. Dushayant says, what's the plan now? Do we rest? Do we what? Do we rest Zlatan for Chelsea? He's not playing. I can't find it now. It's gone. The comments are going a little bit on the quick side. I think you probably go with Rashford, to be honest. I really do think you go with Rashford to get in behind him. And I think that's happy days. Don't just comment 10-2. Let's put some comments in here that I can reply to and that I can actually read out. Simon Preston reckons that we will draw against Chelsea and get a replay. Unfortunately, mate, I don't think there's any draws at this stage. I think it's now has to be decided on the day. Anik says Marshall had no impact. Marshall's a guy that likes to run with the ball with very tight control. The bobbly pitch, it's not going to do much for him. Rishu says lucky players didn't get injured. Again, there's another positive coming away. CJ32 says, shall we have played 3-5-2 versus Chelsea? Do you know what? Before the game, I didn't think that we was going to see a 3 at the back from Jose Mourinho, and maybe we did, maybe we didn't. It might have been 5, it might have been 3, but either way, I was surprised. It's the first time Jose Mourinho's ever lined up with a team like that. So I think there's a very good chance that you might be able to do that. We will see. Indy says a win would have been nice for confidence after the draw last weekend. Don't think it matters. It's only half time. The game's not over yet. It doesn't matter. Like we lost in the second leg against Hull. Don't matter. We did the work that we needed to do in the first leg. We've done the work that we need to. We don't even need to win this game at Old Trafford now to go through. That's the work that we've done already. R says, do I think we'll play 3-5-2 against Chelsea? I'd be surprised, to be honest. I still would be surprised. Mourinho's played it once now in his whole history, but I think that you're going to see more of a midfield battle against Chelsea. I don't think we'll leave the midfielders open as we did today. All these United fans that just want to go and bash Pogba. Pogba's been absolutely great this season. He's not really controlled some of the big games, but do you know what? I think people need to remember that in some of the big games, the opposition focus on Paul Pogba, and that's why he doesn't have a great game. I saw this thing with Ronaldo when he was a young player. People are like, oh yeah, he's a flat track bully and he does well against these smaller teams. He never does it against the big teams. And do you know what? Eventually they figure out a way to turn up and do that sort of thing. The Orphan says Rooney to play against Chelsea. I think that's probably why he was left at home, in all honesty. Haka says the trophy is ours. Do you think we're going to go on and win the Europa? I don't think getting a draw away at Rostov tells you one way or another, if I'm being completely honest with you. Let's not lie, he has not been good, says David. Are you talking about over the course of the season? Because he has. He simply has. It's as simple as that. Man of the match, possibly Mkhitaryan, but aside from that, there wasn't many that really stood out to me, if I'm being completely honest. Simon says no injuries and an away goal feels like a win in some aspects. I would agree on that one. Does Ashley Young have a future at United? I don't see where, to be honest. Pogba will improve next season even more. Just watch, says Abze. Yep, I agree on that one. Mkhitaryan, man of the match, says Rohit. I agree. What are you guys saying? Let me know in the comments. Who do you guys think for man of the match? Do I want to win Europa? I really couldn't care less. Stop criticising Pogba. He's young and needs to adapt. Should be fortunate to have signed him. Wait till you see the statistics that are coming out of Paul Pogba. And I can't understand all this. He's been poor, because he's really not. I'm quite happy, honestly, says Major. Mickey, man of the match. People are just looking at the price tag. Someone says Rojo, man of the match. Rojo, man of the match. Couple of shouts there for Rojo. United, best team in the world, thanks to Mourinho. I don't think you can say that at the moment. I think that's getting massively carried away, thinking that we're the best team in the world at the moment. But we are certainly improving. These Pogba excuses are getting embarrassing. What excuses? No one's excusing anything. If you look at the stats, the guy's actually had a fantastic season. And to suggest that he's not, is just denying reality. So I don't know what you're talking about. Change tactics, we are predictable. How are we predictable? Jose Mourinho played 3 at the back for the first time in his 800 odd matches as a manager tonight. So how is that predictable? That's anything but predictable, isn't it? Do you know how we're going to line up against Chelsea? I don't. Two Shot Tino says really happy to get a score draw back to OT. Fellaini, man of the match, says Taj. So who's the shouts for man of the match then? We've seen Fellaini, Mkhitaryan, Rojo. Give me one more for your man of the matches, who we think that's going to be. Jose Masterclass today. Let's talk about the manager then. I think the manager did pretty well today. I think he's going to be happy coming away with a draw, with an away goal. I'm pretty happy with that too, if I'm being completely honest. I think that's a decent result going back. He changed it up tactically. He didn't go and just think, let's just see what happens with the way we normally play. He's mixed it up. He's showing his flexibility. The team sort of followed it. I don't think he'll be happy with the pass completion, but I think you can sort of excuse that with the way the opposition set up against us and what we had to do in the game. I think Jose Mourinho is going to be pretty happy with that, and I think he gets a good 8 out of 10 as a manager out of this one. The stats are flattering, doesn't mean he's been great this season. Okay, David, what would you like Pogba to have done, right? He's on track for the same amount of goals and assists that he gets at Juventus, which was enough to get him into the FIFA Pro Team of the Year, right? So you would assume that the stats that he got last season were pretty good. Okay, so what other stats are we talking about with Paul Pogba? He's got, let me just find some, because I've got some right here. He's doing more dribbles than David Silva, who's someone that in your head you think, yeah, he's better. He's taking on more players than David Silva does. He's putting more forward passes in the final third than any player in the Premier League, right? So That's got to count for something, surely. He's got more interceptions than Danny Drinkwater, the defensive midfielder of Leicester, right? Who is known for interceptions. He's got more successful passes than Ozil. He's got more chances created than Fabregas, who everyone's going absolutely mental about this season. Paul Pogba, he's having a good season. Just because he's not scoring goals left, right and centre, and admittedly he has had a couple of poor games, doesn't mean he's having a bad season. He's been pretty consistent over the course of the season, and anyone who thinks otherwise is absolutely mental. Henderson, people can't wait to queue up to talk about Jordan Henderson, and Pogba's got far more key passes than him. He's created more chances and all that sort of stuff, so you know what I mean? Why was Ibra playing when he got a 5-match ban? Yusuf says. He got a 3-match ban for starters, and it's in the Premier League, so how about relax? Stats don't mean shit if you actually watch the game. Some stats do. Now, stats don't mean everything, but stats can give you a makeup of what's actually happening and the output someone's putting into a game. To say stats don't mean anything is nonsense. They don't mean everything, but they do mean something. Sai says, good enough result. I would agree on that one. Is the Chelsea game of any relevance? I do think it is. I do think it is a game of immense relevance, actually. I think it's a great opportunity for Manchester United to sort of slay the ghost of what happened. That's our worst defeat this season against Chelsea away. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity for Manchester United to turn that around. How excited am I for the return of the Champions League nights under the floodlights at Old Trafford? Listen, mate, it's all about Europa League. Every cool kid knows that. It's all about Europa League. I love this competition, clearly. Why did I put Bailey in the team? I didn't put Bailey in the team. I was host. I was just there to argue with people. Pogba is only a chap. A lot more will come from him. But will we do good business again this year? Do you know what? Oh, come on, man. Why is someone dropping Munich stuff in there? Why can't I get rid of you in here? Nonsense. Have a word, mate. I think you'll probably get one flop next year. I think statistically we're due... Well, we're actually due 4 flops because they go 50-50 with transfers, so we're probably due at least 1 or 2 flops. But if we do anything like, even if we get 50%, if we sign 4 players and 2 are as good as what we've signed this year and 2 are nonsense and flop, then I think we'll still be a great side next year. Can we have you on our podcast for the Red Army Norway? Yeah, sure. Hit us up in the comments or tweet me, actually, and sort it out. We need to buy some pace in the summer. Do you really think we need to buy some pace with Luke Shaw, with Valencia, with Baye, with Marshall, with Rashford? Do you really think pace is what we need? I'm not sure, you know. Pogba is one of the best players in the league, says Lennon. I agree. I think he's been fantastic. And people want him to be shit. He's not shit. Unlucky. Who has been the best player, in my opinion, in the Premier League this year? I think Eden Hazard has looked fantastic this year. I think De Bruyne has looked fantastic this year. And Kante's looked good. Costa's looked good as well. I don't know. We'll see what that's at. Do I think second is on the cards? I'm not sure at the moment. I think the result at weekend against Bournemouth messed us up a little bit, so I'm going to say I don't know. Do I think Thurgy would get any more out of these players? I don't know, you know. I think with Jose's getting a lot out of some pretty average players at the moment, to be honest. I think he's getting a lot. Anyway, that will do. Adam's coming up next for his review, so keep it locked to Full Time Devils. Thank you guys for joining us, and I'll see you in a bit. Laters.